today. I'm the groom's daughter, Catherine. So Bakjung did a good job thanking everybody who came from afar, and of course to Baklan and Bakha for letting us celebrate this special day here. So I wanted to take a few minutes to toast my dad and his beautiful new bride and tell you a little bit about the kind of father, brother, uncle, and friend that he's been. So I don't know how many of you know this, but my dad raised me in New Hampshire, which is known for its cold and white winters and not very much else. I remember we lived in a big, beautiful house with a huge yard, and in the winters I would spend hours sledding down the snow, and my dad would pull me around in my sled until it got dark. So when you're a kid, snow is like the most magical thing. But little did I realize that my dad would wake up at like 5 or 6 in the morning every day to plow the driveway and salt it so that he could take me to school. So when I was a kid, I had the coolest toys. My dad gave me a Batmobile. I was the only kid in the neighborhood with a Batmobile. I had a Mickey Mouse tent in my room. I had Nintendo 64 before anyone else had it. And for people who remember those big water guns, like Super Soaker guns, my dad got me the biggest Super Soaker gun. It was like an AK-47 in water gun form. It was so big, bigger than my body, in fact, that I couldn't even lift it. So as generous as my dad was, he took the Super Soaker and he gave me the water hose to play with. So we moved to Houston in 2000, and I was in 8th grade back then, and I remember I was really nervous about moving to a new place and leaving my childhood friends. And I was told that I would need to ride a horse and buggy to school every day, so I was really nervous about that. But when we moved here, the first family that we met was Baklan, Bakha, Lan, and Hung. And I remember the very first time I met Lan, I walked into her house and she had a big Pikachu screensaver on her computer. And I soon learned that the only social activity that she had had up until that point were Pokemon meetups at Katy Mills Mall. But the joke is really on me because now I'm obsessed with Pokemon Go and Lan is too cool for Pokemon. So we bonded quickly and became really close cousins, and that's all because we moved to Houston. And in the years that followed, while I was in high school, my dad worked really hard to help our family from Vietnam move over to America, and we were surrounded. I'm sorry. We were surrounded by so much more family. And so he worked really hard to help our family come here, and we went from dinners with 2 people to 20 or 30 people. And as an only child, it was really nice to be surrounded by so much family. And then I remember when it was time for me to graduate high school and go to college, I was about to make the biggest decision in my life. You know, where would I go to college and what was I going to study? And, you know, usually parents will say either become a doctor or become a lawyer. And I remember I was like, Dad, I'm going to major in political science and become a lawyer. And he protected his investment early on. He was like, are you sure you want to do that? I was like, you know what you're really good at? Watching TV. Why don't you major in radio, TV, film? And that was actually the best advice that he could have given me at such a critical point in my life. And then the years that followed, we always had big family parties and big gatherings, and my dad always made sure that each and every person had a present, each and every person was fed, and of course each and every person felt loved. And I remember when I go home, we were in Vietnam. It was my first time going to Vietnam, and she was so full of life and joy and happiness. And then I remember I was still living at home when they got reunited, and I could hear them talking on the phone like teenagers every single day for like 4 hours a day, even though they were on opposite sides of the world. They were like blowing kisses. And so as we celebrate their wedding today, I I think that the lesson learned here is whenever you find a love that's once in a lifetime, you fight for it and you work for it until you can be with that person. And they did just that. So thank you guys for all.
Okay.